students, this is Dr. Avidha. Today we are going to discuss gastric proton pump inhibitors. So what are proton pumps and what are the proton pump inhibitors that we will discuss under the outlines of following. That's what are the proton pumps, what are the proton pump inhibitors, clinically what are the uses of PPI, and what is the mechanism of action, how these PPIs are working, and the pharmacokinetics, how the way they are working. That will be studied in pharmacokinetics of PPI. What are the adverse effect of PPI, medicinal uses of PPI, the therapeutic uses of PPI that we will discuss. So first of all, what are the proton pumps? Actually, proton pumps are the proton transporters beyond the biological membrane. So in biological membrane, whenever proton diffusion takes place from the lower concentration to higher concentration, uh, a proton is migrated. This migration actually, uh, the transportation is called proton pump. So the proton pump is a special kind of transporters which push proton ions from the area of lower concentration to the area of higher concentration, ion moving down a gradient release energy. So when they move up, gradient takes energy. Diffusion can then use this gradient to capture energy again as the ion move downhill. So what we can say that proton, one side of the biological membrane plus energy if we provide, then the other side of energy, what will be happen, then proton move on the other side. So we are pushing proton from biological membrane this side to that side. That is a kind of parchment membrane or something like that. So proton pump is actually the biological phenomena which is going on inside the stomach. And what is proton? The proton comes from the acidic side. So whatever the acid HCl generated in the stomach, that release protons, and the number of protons create acidity in the stomach. So the migration of these proton from one membrane to another membrane, the one side of the membrane to the other side of the membrane, is called the proton pumping. Okay, and whatsoever the biological membrane or the other helping supportive phenomena is going on, that is called proton pump inhibition. Proton pump inhibition means we'll discuss what are the proton pump inhibitors. Proton pump inhibitors are actually the class of drug which are able to reduce the production of acid in the stomach. So how they are reducing the production of acid in the stomach? Protons are H plus ions, and H plus ion released from acids. So as the H plus ion increase in the body, in the stomach, definitely it will increase the acidic value. So what these proton pump inhibitors are doing, actually they are having some salts which interact with that protons and come out, and that's non-proton part of positively charged ions, either potassium or the sodium or someone else, interacting with that remaining body. This is only the ion exchange. The proton pump inhibitors are not doing a very uh, high-fi biological activity. They are just exchange the proton with another positive charge ion. So on place of proton they put it and left K positive ion or any positive ion, that we will discuss later on in the biological activity part or the pharmacokinetics part. So what we can say, that they are the product that activate in acid environment. After absorption, the active metabolite diffuse into the parietal cell and accumulate in the acidic secretory canaliculi. So these are actually the drug which activate in the acidic environment. Whenever the acid increases in the body, it activated. After absorption, the active metabolite diffuse into the parietal cell and accumulate in the acid secretory canaliculi. Some famous PPIs, proton pump inhibitors, are omeprazole, lansoprazole, esomeprazole, pantoprazole, rabeprazole, etc. So omeprazole and pantoprazole are the very well known PPIs which are generally providing with the medications, and this PPI is also including in the drug prescriptions when doctors are providing the n number of drugs related to any kind of specific disease. These PPIs are additionally given just because to reduce the acidity of the stomach which can be generated due to this much drug consumption. So PPI is uh, prodrug. Medicinal use, these can be used for the peptic ulcer, acidic environment, gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD can also be treated by this. So peptic ulcer, Helicobacter pylori, dyspepsia, these are the all the disease names, and that all are somehow connected with the acidic strength, hyperacidity of in the stomach. Actually, these are the different peptic ulcer generated when the acidic level is high. Then some bones and cuts generated inside the stomach, that is peptic ulcer, Helicobacter. These are the severe situations actually. From initial stage to severe, you can say these are the diseases actually which can be generated. But the basic function of PPI is to reduce the acidic volume or the number of H plus ion reduced, or the ion exchange theta. What is the mechanism actually? What happens when acidity done in the stomach? What the concentration of HCl increases? What this PPI do? PPI just give their protons, took their protons, and ion exchange takes place. So what happened here? You can see that hydrogen ion is releasing from this place, from the stomach, and proton on place of proton, this potassium ion is taking place. So this ion exchange basically the function of proton pump inhibitors. They are inhibit the activity of protons. They are just transporting from this to another membrane. So ultimately the level of HCl reduces in the stomach and we feel relief. So this is the basic function of these are the biological activities. This is the biological membrane, and where the proton is high. Proton pump what can do? This proton can migrate from this membrane to another membrane, this membrane to another membrane. This is a proton pump work. But ultimately in the stomach, reduction of proton is just the work of proton pump inhibitor. They are trying to inhibit proton, and the charge will be remain same, but non-protonic positive charge ion they left. So this you can say that potassium sodium, it can be the salt of sodiums and potassiums are good PPIs used in PPI, in the synthesis of PPI. Pharmacokinetics, the rate of PPI absorption is decreased by the concomitant food intake. Whenever we are taking the foods which is creating acidity in the structure, the rate of PPI absorption decrease. The elimination of half-life, suppose what's the means of this? The rate of PPI absorption decreased by the concomitant food intake. So if we are consuming PPI and the food is regularly increasing the rate of protons, then the work, or you can say the absorption capacity of PPI is decreases. The elimination half-life of PPI range from 0.5 to 2 hours. So half an hour, so 2 hours. But the effect of single dose on acid secretion usually persists up to 3 days. So PPI work within half an hour to 2 hours, so acidity easily cure within 2 hours, but the effect of single dose on acid secretion usually persists. The complete acid secretion, or you can say the complete relief or the releasing of the complete function of PPI is completed in 3 days. Since an acidic pH is parietal cell acid canalically is required for drug activation, since food stimulate acid production, these drugs ideally should be given about 30 minutes before the meals. So all the PPIs are always prescribed before meal, or you can by the empty stomach prescribed. Chronic renal failure does not lead to the drug accumulation with once a day dosing of proton pump inhibitors. drug accumulation never create a kind of chronic renal failure or any kind of thing. So once in a day, if we are providing more than once in a day, if we are using this PPI, this can be create some harmful effect also, some adverse effect also. So if you are consuming PPI, that's once in a day only. Hepatic disease substantially reduce the clearance of esomeprazole and lansoprazole. Some other function of these lansoprazole and esomeprazole, the other members of this family can use the cure the hepatic disease also. So it is not clear till now. We can that reduce the clearance of. So you can that this is not clear till now, but somehow they are relieving the hepatic disease also. What are the adverse effects? So PPIs create two kind of adverse effect, the short term or the initial adverse effect and the long term use of. So the common adverse effect include nausea, diarrhea, abdominal pain, fatigue, dizziness. These are the very common side effects which can be possible or not, because the biological or the morphological is different, person vary from person to person. So you can say that nausea, diarrhea, abdominal pain, fatigue, dizziness, this can be visible because of the body uses gastric acid to release vitamin B12 from food particles. Decreased vitamin B12 absorption may occur with long term use of PPI and may lead to the vitamin B12 deficiency. So if you are using long term PPI, it can be cause deficiency of vitamin B12. So that also create a biological dysfunctioning in the body. So just try to avoid the long term use of these. What happened when long term use? In the specific but common case of the use, PPI had no impact on calcium, vitamin D, or the bone metabolism in healthy young males. As a long term treatment for the managing GERD, we can use PPI may cause dependency by increasing gastric symptoms if they are discontinued. It also happens sometime when we discontinue. We are continuously taking this PPIs and suddenly we discontinued. It actually stomach is habitual, or the stomach muscles are habitual to reduce or inhibit the level of protons in stomach. So suddenly it raised the acidic strength in acidity in the stomach. Slowly it comes on the common way, but suddenly it creates. So PPI sometimes it creates, not in everyone's case, but sometimes it happens. However, 12-week PPI therapy, it's long-term PPI therapy also interfere with zinc absorption and zinc body stores in the body. So some minerals also disturbed in their concentration, which required the optimum, or you can say the uh, adequate amount which required in the body change. So the long term use of PPI can cause some critical situations, but short term though we can use it. This is the therapeutic uses. Proton pump inhibitors are used principally to promote healing the gastric and duodenal ulcers, treat gastroesophageal reflux disease. Lansoprazole is FDA approved for the treatment of prevention of recurrence of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. NSAID, associated gastric ulcer in patients who continue NSAID use. In children, omeprazole is safe and effective for the treatment of erosive esophagitis, and younger patients generally have increased metabolic capacity, which may explain the need for doses and omeprazole per kilogram in children compared to adult. So these were the some therapeutic uses of omeprazole and the lansoprazole and the pantoprazole. Actually, these are the drugs which we are using. It's general use, it's non-prescribed. It's general prescription. You can get with the other drugs also to reduce the proton level, the proton, or you can say the acidic strength, reduction of the acidic strength. So it's very simple medicines, and it's essential medication which required. Omeprazole is most effective, which because it is safe for all age group patients, for adults, for children, for old age people. It's really useful. Some other also having pantoprazole is very famous and very commonly used. So basically proton pump inhibitors just inhibit the activity of protons. Proton pump inhibitors just inhibit the property of protons, which in the mechanism we have studied, in the pharmacokinetics we have seen how they are working, and actually proton pump inhibitors just inhibiting the production of protons. And proton pump, what they are just moving from the biological membrane, the transportation of proton from this membrane to another membrane, another membrane to another membrane. This is only the work of proton pump in the body. Thank you. In the next lecture we will discuss something much more about gastric proton pump inhibitors. We will discuss some the synthesis of these proton pump inhibitors. How can we synthesize omeprazole? How can we synthesize pantoprazole and the lansoprazole also? So this synthesis part we will discuss in the next lecture.